Head coach Steve Borthwick finds himself at the center of growing uncertainty as the Rugby Football Union, RFU, continues its in-depth review of England's disappointing 2026 Six Nations Championship campaign. While no immediate decision has been made regarding his future, one thing is clear: there are no guarantees that Borthwick will remain in charge as England look to recover from one of their most underwhelming tournaments in modern history. A tournament that fell far below expectations heading into the 2026 Six Nations. Optimism surrounded the England national rugby union team. After a strong run of form leading into the competition, including a 12-match winning streak featuring victories over top-tier sides, England were widely tipped as one of the favourites to challenge for the title alongside traditional rivals France. However, what followed was a dramatic collapse that stunned supporters and analysts alike. England managed just a single win from 5 matches, finishing in 5th place, one of their poorest results in decades. Even more concerning was the nature of those defeats, which exposed both tactical fragility and a lack of cohesion within the squad. Perhaps the most shocking moment of the campaign came with England's historic loss to Italy, the first time they had ever been beaten by the Azzurri in the Six Nations era. That result alone underscored the scale of England's struggles, as a team once known for its physical dominance and structured discipline appeared disjointed and uncertain. RFU initiates performance review. In response to the dismal campaign, the RFU initiated a comprehensive performance review, a standard process conducted after major international windows. However, given the severity of England's downturn, this particular review carries far greater weight than usual. RFU Chief Executive Bill Sweeney addressed the media for the first time since the tournament, acknowledging the widespread concern while urging a calm, analytical approach. "There is a lot of noise out there," Sweeney stated, referring to the intense speculation surrounding Borthwick's future. "But you've got to take emotion out of the equation." Rather than reacting impulsively, Sweeney emphasized the importance of examining the situation objectively. The review, being conducted by an independent panel, aims to answer several key questions. What went wrong? Why did those issues arise? And most importantly, how can they be fixed? For Sweeney and the RFU, the focus is not solely on assigning blame but on identifying solutions that can restore England's competitiveness at the highest level. No guarantees for Borthwick. Despite expressing a desire to support Borthwick, Sweeney stopped short of offering any assurances about the coach's long-term future. "We're in the middle of the review, so it wouldn't be appropriate to start talking about that right now," he explained. "But we'll get to the bottom of all of it." This carefully worded response has done little to quell speculation. While Borthwick remains under contract until the end of the 2027 Rugby World Cup, contractual security does not necessarily equate to job security, especially in elite sport, where results ultimately dictate outcomes. The RFU's stance suggests that all options remain on the table. Whether that leads to backing Borthwick with additional support or making a more drastic change will depend entirely on the findings of the review. The Andy Farrell factor. Adding another layer of intrigue to the situation is the emergence of Andy Farrell as a potential alternative. Currently the head coach of Ireland, Farrell has been loosely linked with a return to English rugby, specifically with his former club Saracens. Although these rumors have gained traction in the media, both Saracens and the RFU have publicly denied any formal discussions regarding Farrell's availability. Sweeney reiterated this position but notably left a slight opening. "He's under contract to 2027 and the Rugby World Cup," Sweeney said. "We are not in dialogue. We are not in a discussion with him at present." The phrase, "at present," has not gone unnoticed, fueling speculation that the situation could evolve depending on the outcome of the review. While there is no concrete evidence of negotiations, Farrell's reputation as one of the game's leading coaches makes him an obvious name in any discussion about England's future leadership. From dominance to disarray. What makes England's Six Nations collapse particularly perplexing is the stark contrast with their form prior to the tournament. The team had been riding a 12-game winning streak, defeating top opposition including Australia, France, and New Zealand. Those performances suggested that Borthwick had successfully implemented a system capable of competing with the world's best. England appeared structured, disciplined, and increasingly confident in their attacking play, yet during the Six Nations, that identity seemed to vanish. The team struggled to impose itself, often reverting to conservative tactics that lacked creativity and penetration. Their attack appeared blunt, their defense vulnerable, and their decision-making inconsistent. this dramatic shift has become a central focus of the RFU's review. Understanding why a team that looked so promising could deteriorate so quickly is essential to determining the best path forward. Consistency over results. Interestingly, Sweeney indicated that the RFU's primary concern is not simply the number of matches won or lost, but the consistency of England's performances. We are really focused on seeing progress again and seeing better and more consistent performances, he said. That is the focus, it's not a set number of wins or a percentage. This perspective reflects a longer-term vision. While victories are obviously important, the RFU appears more interested in ensuring that England develops a reliable style of play that can be sustained over time. Sweeney referenced Borthwick's philosophy of playing big, a term used to describe a more expansive, confident approach. He pointed to England's performance against France as an example of what the team is capable of when executing that vision effectively. However, such performances were the exception rather than the rule during the tournament. The Ireland defeat, a turning point among the various setbacks. England's loss to Ireland stood out as particularly troubling. The Ireland game was probably the most concerning, Sweeney admitted, just because of the style and the nature of the loss. It wasn't merely the result that raised alarm bells, but the manner in which England were outplayed. They appeared second best in nearly every aspect of the game, tactically, physically, and mentally. For a team with aspirations of competing for a World Cup, such a performance highlighted significant gaps that must be addressed urgently. Delays and deliberation. The review process itself has taken slightly longer than expected, partly due to logistical challenges. According to Sweeney, some of the individuals the panel wishes to consult have been unavailable due to leave commitments. Despite the delay, the RFU is determined to ensure that the review is thorough and inclusive. Gathering input from players, coaches, and external experts is seen as crucial to developing a comprehensive understanding of the issues at hand. The findings are expected to be released within the coming week, at which point the RFU will outline its next steps. At a defining moment for English rugby. The outcome of this review could prove to be a defining moment for English rugby. With the 2027 Rugby World Cup on the horizon, the decisions made now will shape the team's trajectory over the next 18 months. That if the RFU chooses to retain Borthwick, it will need to provide him with the tools and support necessary to address the team's shortcomings. That could involve changes to the coaching staff, adjustments to the tactical approach, or renewed emphasis on player development and mental resilience. Alternatively, if the RFU decides that a change in leadership is required, it must ensure that any transition is carefully managed to avoid further disruption. Balancing patience and urgency. One of the key challenges facing the RFU is striking the right balance between patience and urgency. On one hand, rebuilding a team takes time, and frequent changes can hinder progress. On the other hand, the proximity of the World Cup means that there is limited room for error. The road ahead. As England await the outcome of the review, uncertainty continues to surround the team. Players, coaches, and fans alike are eager for clarity on what the future holds. For Borthwick, the coming weeks represent a critical period. He must not only defend his record but also demonstrate that he has a credible plan to lead England back to competitiveness. For the RFU, the challenge is equally significant. The decisions they make will have far-reaching implications, not just for the current squad but for the broader direction of English rugby. Conclusion. England's 2026 Six Nations campaign has triggered a moment of reckoning. What was expected to be a title challenge turned into a sobering reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in elite sport.